I was referring to the doctor, the case about, parents come to us and ask for the best looking surrogate mother, but obviously I tell them that, the best strategy is to leave it to the doctor to prepare for that kind of eventuality, or I guess the preparation part of it as well.
Exactly.
Apart from that, doctor, again, if you don't mind, could you just speak about your embryologist once again and tell us, who they are and who's in your team? And I heard a lot about Dr. Francis as well.
Yes. It's important to remember that an IVF center or IVF clinic without an embryologist cannot work.
Right.
So my work, obviously, as as the doctor, is to stimulate the patients, get the eggs out, and obviously pass them over to the embryologist, who's an expert in that.
Right.
And at the moment, I've been working with Dr. Anita for the last almost 5 years, and she was trained in India.
Mm-hmm.
She has a lot of experience, about 18 years experience. Excuse me. And we do all the full gamut of all IVF procedures, straight from ICSI to IVF. We freeze the embryos, we freeze eggs, we freeze sperm, and actually now we are actually thinking of doing PGS and PGD.
That's right, and you told me about there's a requirement for that, especially with multiple implantation failures.
Yes.
Parents would like to kind of find out why that is happening. And obviously,
Exactly.
there's other things like gender, I guess selection as well. That is one of the things that they opt for. And is gender selection legal in Kenya?
At the moment, we don't have a law which prohibits or accepts. So actually, there is a bill that is waiting in Parliament,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to wait for the president to sign it into law,
Right.
and then we will have a law. But at the moment, it is a very new area in
Okay.
this part of the world,
Right.
so not many people are doing it. But I think with time, as people get more enlightened,
Mm-hmm.
obviously they want to know what can be done and if it can be done, and obviously we want to offer this service as well.
Wonderful.
As I said, at the moment we are thinking of outsourcing it,
Sure.
meaning we'll do the biopsies here
Mm-hmm.
and send the tissues abroad.
Right.
I'm in talks with a few clinics which are ready and are happy for us to work together.
Wonderful. I have also touched base with you regarding the day 3 and a day 5 transfer, and you've actually explained to me, depending on the number of embryos that you have,
Exactly.
you will decide whether you want to do a day 3 or a day 5, grow them to day 5 as well.
Yes.
So that is a frequently asked question to me, how many embryos do we implant? And do you also believe in the theory that if you have 2 grade embryos, 2 grade A,
Yes.
or maybe if you have grade A and 1 grade B, do you implant both of them together, or you would rather implant only the grade A and then grade B separately? Because some clinics in Spain that I've spoken with said that implanting 2 different graded embryos does result in an implantation failure.
Mhm.
What are your views on that, doctor?
My view is that once we've decided that we're going to do a transfer, and we have, let's say, 5 embryos,
Right.
and let's say 2 of them are grade A, AA, and 1 of them is grade AB, and the other one is grade BB, and let's say BC, we will start with the best. So we'll
Understood.
choose the best.
Best
The
one.
AA, those are the ones we transfer.
Mhm.
We do not mix the grades.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. And I wanted to hear your views about how much of a rest is important after the embryo transfer, because we generally keep them in our surrogate house for X number of days until the beta HCG, the pregnancy test.
Yes.
But there is a misconception that she should be lying down on the bed all the time.
Mhm.
What are your views on that, doctor?
That's a very interesting question, because a lot of patients ask that question. Actually, we looked at it when I was working in the UK, and there is some work which has actually been done where there was a comparison between between a set number of patients, if I remember it's about 150,
Right.
who had a transfer
Right.
away from their countries,
Right.
and then after the transfer they went back to
Flew
their
back.
country,
Okay.
flew back home,
Right.
and they stayed in the foreign country for I think about a day or 2 days,
Right.
and straight away flew back.
Right.
And then there were others who had the embryo transfer done and stayed there, so there was no movement. as
Movement.
it were.
Okay. Right.
And actually there is no difference at all.
Interesting.
There was no significant, statistically significant difference in the implantation rate, pregnancy rate, and the delivery rate. So I normally tell the patients to be sensible, and I usually tell them after transfer, you can rest for a day or 2 days.
Sure.
And then after that, take it easy.
Take it easy. Don't
Take it
do
easy.
strenuous exercises. Don't
strenuous.
lifting. Don't.
Don't lift things which are heavy, more than 5 kilos, and so on.
Right.
And if you have to lift it, get somebody else to do it.
Understood.
Yes.
Doctor, what are your views on when you implant the embryos? I mean, I've heard about this technology when they do a blood flow study of the uterus.
Yes.
Is that something that you do, or what is your strategy regarding that? Where, in which part of the uterus would you implant the embryo as such?
Normally, the transfer is done because we do it under ultrasound guidance. As I go in with the catheter, and I measure, because I can see the aggregation of the catheter, and I can see how far I am inside
Right.
the uterine cavity. It should actually be mid-uterine, at the center of,
Sure.
of the uterus.
Sure.
That is when you release the embryos to go in. Now, when it comes to checking the vascularity of the uterus, during stimulation or even before transfer, there have been some studies which have been done, but the data has not been very clear cut,
Sure.
saying that it has value or it has no value.
Understood.
I know some people do it. I have done it before, but as I said, the data and the information out there is not clear cut. So what actually the most researchers say is that we need a lot more high-powered studies so that we can be able to say yes, it has value, or if it has no value, what we can do with it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Doctor. Once again, you've given us a lot of insight into the way you work and the way we can achieve a good success rate using a good surrogate mother, selecting a good candidate, and eventually preparing her for an embryo transfer. And one thing I'd like to state about this place is it's such a beautiful country. Tourism is obviously one of the best things you can do out here to really, I guess, relax. Apart from that, the people out here have been so warm. Although it's a very cold place now at the moment, especially the temperatures dropped down quite a bit. Very green, very clean air compared to even India. I can tell you, it's absolutely clean. I mean, as it could be. And thank you so much, Doctor. I look forward to working with a lot of other parents, we call them intended parents,
Yes.
into the future. And I thank you once again for taking care of my parents.
Thank you very much. And as we say in Kenya, karibu, meaning welcome to Kenya.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. I think that's about it. Great. Yep, that's it. Recorded.